Hello, everybody. My name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ Film Festival. This is our 37th year. We have an amazing lineup of films this year. As always, our shorts programs are terrific. One of my favorite is Inspirations. It's a series of documentary shorts, and we have three of the filmmakers today. So we're going to go around the Zoom room, have them introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their films, and then we'll jump into some questions. Why don't we start with Emily?
Hi, everybody. My name is Emily Clark. I'm a filmmaker who lives in Brooklyn, of course. And my film is called Is Gay Marriage Next? That was the title on the cover of a Newsweek magazine in 2003 that hit my parents' table when I was super duper in the closet. And I saw this cover. There was a lesbian couple on it, and basically it like blew my mind, changed my life. I came out a year later. So last year I found the magazine on eBay and I tracked down the women and we made a short documentary where I thanked them for what they did for me.
Nice. Thank you. Emma.
Hello, my name is Shapiro, and I directed the film Earth to KB. This film features writer KB Brookins, and we're both based in Austin, Texas, and so that's where we made the film. So yeah, this is a portrait film about KB and focuses on them as a poet. So yeah, they're primarily a writer. They recently published a memoir, so they're exploring all different forms of writing, but the film is focusing on their poetry, and particularly at a time when they just released their first full-length collection called Freedom
Mhm.
House. And
Yeah.
so the film moves between this kind of world-building space of the poetry and these more performance-based stage settings, and also in the real life of their community life in their home in Austin. So you also get to meet their partner, who's now their wife, and yeah, it was really a joy to make with them and with the community here.
Okay. Otherwise, I didn't. Is it Camilo?
Is Camilo.
Camilo. Okay. Tell us a little bit about the Canary and yourself.
Hi, my name is Camilo. I directed a documentary short called The Canary. This really evolved from a graduate thesis film that I was working on in film school, just graduated this past May. And it was stemmed from a much bigger uh, book banning documentary, contemporary book banning. But um, which is eventually going to be a feature. However, in trying to kind of find this really strong, powerful story, one of the subjects of the film um, that this short film really follows is a library worker in Western Michigan who has a trans child who is confronted with the impending closure of her community library in the name of censorship, mostly due to LGBTQ plus books in the
Okay.
community. So it kind of follows as concise as it could be on a subject that is so massive right now. Just kind of talks about her life a little bit and the community that's being affected by censorship.
Okay. Same order. Where are each of you right now in your festival run? I'll start with Emily.
Yeah, I guess I'm like halfway through. I world premiered at Inside Out Toronto and then US premiered at Dances with Films in LA. And then played, yeah, at several places after that and making my hometown New York City premiere in November, which I'm excited about.
Nice. Em?
Yeah, I think we're also about in our halfway point of our festival run, and so we got to premiere at BFI Flair in London, and have enjoyed yeah, going to other places recently. So it's been fun.
Great. Camilla?
This is my premiere, my first one. So really excited, especially since the film just kind of wrapped and
Yeah.
just getting the show on the road. So
So we're so honored to have all of your films. We're so very excited. But just talk to me a little bit as documentarians. You have such rich subjects in your film, but these films also deal with some very pertinent, timely issues. Can you sort of talk about determining, how much to film, and keep this, fairly concise when I imagine you could have filmed so much more against Emily. We'll start with Emily.
Yeah, I kept trying to introduce new subjects and my editor would rein me in. He's like, "No, we're not bringing up healthcare at this stage." And I'm like, "Oh, I thought we could." No, but mine is very focused on like the legality of gay marriage and how we're in this horrific backslide in America and regression, specifically with LGBTQ rights. And yeah, the book banning BS that's happening is just, it's all crazy. Um, so anyway, yes, I could have made it so much longer, but I really tried because it's a personal story. It's my coming out story to just kind of keep it like really tight. But that was yeah, that's every filmmaker's struggle, I think.
M.
Yeah, so with our film, with KB, it being a portrait film, it's like, okay, well, we could have explored, so many other facets of their life. They are a very busy person, a very creative person, and but I kind of knew, at least from the beginning, okay, how can we focus this? Let's focus on their poetry and let's focus on like right now, right? So kind of keeping it in the presence, but even still, fortunately, I had the privilege of like this was my graduate thesis film in film school, so um, I had a bit of time and resources that were I had access to, so we could keep filming when we needed to. But at a certain point, I was like, okay, I think we have what we need to make the film, and but yeah, so it really is it also got help focusing the film through other friends who were watching cuts and just like yeah, just knowing in the experience of making it, okay, this is what we need to focus on. Yeah.
Great. Camilla?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, approaching it at first, such a big issue that's happening just across the entire United States.
Mhm.
And I did interview several people, but when it came down to creating the Canary, it really focused on my subject, the library worker.
Mhm.
And the reason why I went with that out of all the people I had interviewed was it was such a complex, layered story, so many different themes to pull from it. So if in terms of storytelling, it was so rich and complex, and I felt like it just was such a beautiful way to kind of and a concise way to kind of talk about something that's much bigger.
Okay. Okay, great. And final question. As filmmakers, as documentarians, can you talk about the importance of queer representation? Again, we'll start with Emily.
The one who always gets to go first. Yes, I actually, my day job, I work in advertising and I'm
Okay.
like really, really, really obsessed with this topic. And I mean, just from my own life and this film itself is about the importance of representation. This is a very meta question for me because I saw lesbians in 2003 and I'm like, oh, I think that's me. So I make a huge deal about this at work for like every minority. It's really important to me, like that it's not just, it doesn't just come in like the casting phase, but that's also important. But that we're telling like true, real stories from the community is hugely important, even if it's an ad, because they have money and people see them.
Okay, great. Em.
Yeah, so I think as far as representation, and specifically with our film, I think, yeah, it was really important to be able to, share a window into KB's life. So they're a Black trans queer person and writer and artist here in Texas. And I think especially, in Texas, and I'm sure, with other states, we're having these experiences, right, where like, you know, um, all of these horrible anti-trans, anti-LGBT bills are being proposed and unfortunately passed. And so it's a very stressful time, but in making this film, wanted to focus on, okay, but I don't want to focus on the tragicness of like what it's like to be, a queer and trans person in Texas, but focus on, more of a personal view into like um, someone's life who is finding, joy and just success in their creative pursuits, and how like hopefully with especially younger queer and trans kids seeing this, like, there's hope still, right? There's hope through all of this. And so having that representation is important for me, and also being very careful about how we tell the story. So yeah, I was very, collaborative with KB in the process, and also um, both my producers and my cinematographer were all queer and trans. So yeah, having that behind the camera too, I think was important to us.
Okay, great. Camilo.
Yeah, I think with a subject like book banning, contemporary book banning, currently the environment in which uh, we are getting our information and our news, the book banners have the loudest voice in the room.
Mhm.
They're the ones who are grabbing the headlines. They're the ones kind of moving forward with the censorship efforts. And you don't really get to hear the stories of the people who are being affected. Some authors, and definitely now libraries and librarians, definitely fighting against it. But I think the people, I think what was really important for me as a storyteller was to be able to give voice through a platform that they might otherwise not have a voice to share their stories with. And I think, you know, any way I could do to kind of allow that to be shared with a wider audience who otherwise doesn't realize what's really happening, and the people who are being affected by this, I thought it was very important to be able to share.
Okay, great. The program is Inspiration documentary shorts screening Thursday, October 3rd at 5 p.m. at the Midtown Art Cinema. It's part of Out on Film, and then will be streaming after that. Earth to KB, The Canary, Is Gay Marriage Next? These are three of the great films that you can find as part of this program. Emily, Camilo, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much for taking the time. And thank you so much for sharing your films with our audiences. I'm sure our audiences are really going to love them. Thanks so much.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.